Carol, her tenacity is really remarkable. You have to be a person of tremendous strength and grit to be in the affordable housing industry as a woman, advocating for a population that literally no one else in New York City cared about until Carol made them pay attention.
Her whole career has been devoted to the city of New York and providing the types of services and support that those folks need if they're going to survive and flourish.
I've always really liked cities. The first time I came to New York City, I just loved it. It was really big and really complicated. My first job was teaching at New York University, and I was teaching courses in urban sociology and urban planning and policy. I did my PhD dissertation. I wanted to do something that was more action-oriented, and I moved to the Neighborhood Reinvestment Program. By the time I got to HPD, there was a huge resource available, which was housing and land that had been taken for non-payment of taxes.
The city was obviously a very different place, and the communities had been ravaged. So Carol, devoted, I think, a lot of her energy and a lot of her time to trying to construct the types of initiatives that would allow that homeowners base in low and moderate income communities to be rebuilt and serve as an anchor for development around it.
After HPD, I did take a position in the CRA area of what was then NatWest. I found myself in New Jersey. I did want to get back into the city. I saw this job position, and I thought that it sounded really interesting. New Destiny at that point was a separate incorporated organization, but it was basically being incubated by a larger organization. And when I took the job, my marching orders were pretty clearly, make this organization independent and get out on your own.
She had already distinguished herself at HPD and created a pact with New Destiny to do affordable housing for survivors of domestic violence.
She understood that when it came to families experiencing homelessness, people that were coming into the domestic violence shelter system were doing so fearing for their lives. After 135 days, you were going to be referred right back into the Department of Homeless Services shelter system with very little sort of safeguards for your safety and your domestic violence status, and certainly no housing. And Carol found this unacceptable.
So as we actually started to try to develop housing for domestic violence survivors, there was no clear template how to do that in terms of capital funding or service funding. And maybe most importantly, there wasn't really a clear recognition that this segment of the homeless population really needed or should have permanent affordable housing.
In New York City, there are 19,000 children and mothers who are in the homeless shelter system. This is a tragedy, and it's a tragedy that's known because Carol has been a fierce and tireless advocate in developing new models so that no woman has to live in a shelter system but can have a permanent home.
Being able to access housing much more quickly, being able to access beautiful housing, because through New Destiny, they've put up beautiful developments.
In Westchester, our High Garden project doesn't happen without Carol and New Destiny. We had worked on this collaborative master plan to develop 100% affordable housing for the community of New Rochelle. She gave this reassurance of, we could build a project that's going to be successful in your community. Let me tell you everything there is to know about the DV population in Westchester. By adding this component, what New Destiny brought and what Carol brought, is only going to make the buildings that we're building better.
Her legacy will be really humanizing the issues, helping us to understand the consequences of us not doing the things we need to do for domestic violence survivors.
If we look at Carol's legacy, what she did at New Destiny was to build an institution, basically from scratch, and an institution that has durability. That's a remarkable accomplishment.
I am incredibly honored to be the recipient of the Clara Fox Award. I think that for me, the work I've done in academics, in the government sector, and in the nonprofit sector has been incredibly meaningful. So what I've been able to achieve has had an impact for the better on people's lives.
Carol, congratulations on receiving the Clara Fox Lifetime Achievement Award.
I just want to thank you, and I wish you all the best in this new wonderful phase of your life.
All of New York City has benefited from your great intelligence and thoughtfulness and commitment.